Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of On the Range in the A-10C Warthog. And today I'm going to go over a technique we can use to find a target based on a bearing and distance from a known location. And the first example I'll use is, say that we get a call from AWACS saying that we have a target at bullseye 307 for 38.2 miles. How do I find that location and how do I get a bomb onto that target? I'm going to use the CDU and I'm going to use the offset page. So to find the offset page, let me go to the snap view so that we can really zoom in on this, and I'm going to put my page selector dial to the other position, and I'm going to select the offset button, and that's going to bring up the offset page. And this is where we enter the data that's going to create a waypoint at that location, at a bearing of 307 at a distance of 38.2 miles from that known location, the bullseye. Now, unlike last time where we were creating waypoints from scratch and then editing the data after the fact, this time I'm going to edit the data and then create the waypoint. So I need to fill in two fields. The first field is going to tell it where to measure from. The second field is going to tell it the bearing and distance to generate the waypoint at. So I want to measure from the bullseye, so on the scratch pad I'm going to type in bullseye, or rather I'm going to type in the first two letters and it's going to auto-fill based off of known locations, bullseye being one of them, and I'm going to depress the LSK. And all I have to do now is give it the bearing and distance, and it was a bearing of 307 for 38.2. You see the format right here, so all I have to do is type in the numbers. So 307, and that's going to be 38.2. Depress the LSK to replace the data, and now it's all set. It gives me coordinates at that location, and to create a waypoint, all I have to do is depress the LSK next to the 3 with a question mark, and waypoint 3 is now going to be at that location. So let's go ahead and back out and we'll try to find the target. Now I'll bring up my targeting pod, I'll go to the air to ground mode, and now I need to bring up that waypoint that we just created and slave everything on over there and see if I can pick it up visually. And remember, to see a waypoint or to be able to steer on a waypoint that we created using this technique, we have to have the steer point selector in the mission position. Now I'm going to have it available, and there we go. Steer point 3, or now waypoint 3, is the location we just established. I'm going to slave my pod on over with China hat forward long, and now if I look in here, I can see that I have a whole bunch of targets. And this technique isn't going to be pinpoint accurate. It's not going to be a matter of feet. It's going to be a matter of, within a quarter mile. Just the more distance, the less precise it's going to be, just because you're entering a bearing and a range and not really getting much more accurate than that as far as a decimal bearing. And looking out there visually, I can see, yep, that's pretty reasonable. That looks like a bunch of targets out there. Now I'm all set. Now I'm ready to go. So that's the basic technique. You get the bearing and range from whatever agency is calling it in, usually AWACS, or it could be a JTAC or whatever. But then you just use the CDU offset function to create a waypoint at a bearing and range from a known location, and you're good to go. So to do that one more time, let's say, for example, that we know that a target is located at a bearing of 358 for 18 miles from the location we're on right now. So from this target that we're on, that we just created, we have another one 18 miles away on a bearing of 358. So let's go ahead and use the offset function again. Let me go to the CDU. Now, instead of the bullseye as the starting location, I'm going to use that waypoint that we just created, MSN003. So MSN003 auto-completes for us. I'm going to depress the LSK to make that the starting location, and I need a bearing and range of 358 for 18. So let's type it in, 358 for 18 miles. Don't need any decimals. All I have to do is input the data, depress the LSK, and there we go. There are the coordinates, and if I depress LSK right here next to the 4 and question mark, it's going to create waypoint 4 at that location. So let's go ahead and back out. I verify that I'm in the mission position on my steer point dial. I step up to waypoint 4, the one that we just created.
Warning,
and let's come on over here and see what we can see. My targeting pod should still be on that location. It's going to be for 18 miles, another 10 degrees to go. Actually, let me go ahead and go China hat forward long one more time to slave it on over. And if I look in there in the pod, yeah, it looks like I have a vehicle out there. And let me see, I should have some other stuff out here too. But yeah, there we go. A group of vehicles right out there, just as advertised on that bearing and range from a known location. So you can imagine the different scenarios where this would come into play. Typically, I would probably use this more often than not to find a location based off of an AWACS call referencing Bullseye. But say, for example, you're in a multiplayer scenario and you're acting as the JTAC. You might have a known location like, for example, Creech Air Force Base out there, and you say, okay, from Creech Air Force Base, your target is 2 miles at a bearing of 038 or whatever you want it to be at. Then you can use that technique to quickly place a waypoint and find the target. So let me go ahead and throw a BD-33. Actually, no, I'll run in with guns on this location and take out a couple of trucks. I'll be right back. And now as we approach the location, we can see in the HUD the waypoint that we created. And I'll roll in on this truck right here. Okay, I'll wait till about 3,000 and go pack 1. Correct. Throw some rounds in there. It's only TP, so it might not have even taken out the truck. That should have done okay. Yeah, there we go. We've got a truck burning. But yeah, that's a good technique to use to find targets if you're in a situation where you have a bearing and range from a known location. So that's it for this edition. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.